Very, very welcome to this webinar where we're going to go from overwhelmed to excited about this new innovation that Microsoft is releasing in the Spring Wave 2 of Copilot. It is an interesting time that we're living in with so much knowledge and so much information available. And I was reflecting a little bit on this as we're building agents and accessing information. And something that I really realized that now more than ever, execution and action is really what's going to make a difference. Now that information and knowledge is so easily accessible, it really is up to us to make an impact and to execute and do something about the information and knowledge that we have access to. And all of you being here, either live today or watching this session on demand, congratulations, because you are taking action and you're investing in your own digital skills. Again, my name is Ulrika Hedlund. I'm the founder and CEO of Storyals. Our mission is to inspire, motivate, and educate users all over the world to build digital skills one story at a time. And if you haven't seen the wealth of resources that we have available on our website, and it's available under resources, you can click on the link here. We are showing this through PowerPoint Live. Here we have a blog, our weekly blog. We also have a new video blog that's new, where you can listen to a podcast about our weekly blog. We have events like this one, our public webinars that are free to attend. And we also have everything published on demand. So at any time you can go and access them there. We also have a section called Good Stuff. We didn't really know what to call this, so we just said, let's just call it Good Stuff. Here we have different types of tools, templates, articles that you can download and use in your environment. And one that I really like is the digital leadership assessment. I know that many of you who are attending have already gone through this digital leadership assessment. So basically what you do is that you go through a number of different questions and then you get a personalized score and a personalized report. So again, this is a great tool and also a great tool to share with your colleagues. Now, with all of us knowing that many of us, and should I say especially men, I don't know, rate themselves perhaps a little bit higher. So just take that into consideration when people say that, yeah, we don't need any training, we don't need digital upskilling. So, and I got a comment here from Raphael. Do I look this good or is this really a filter? And of course, this is a filter, Raphael. So this is the first productivity tip. If you go into the settings in Teams under the camera, and let me show you that. And if I go to the camera, you can see the soft focus here, and I have it up very, very high. If I turn this off, you will see the real me with my wrinkles. So it's just one of those, you just feel a little bit better and you can turn the soft focus on. So thank you for that comment. So what is it that we're going to do today? We are going to explore and try some things hands-on. And I know that perhaps not all of you have access to all of the things that we're talking about today. So that's why I'm going to share my screen. What we're going to do, we're going to talk about the announcements hands-on from the Microsoft 365 Copilot Spring Wave. And this is mostly applicable for those of you who have I call it the premium $30 license of Microsoft 365 Copilot. But I will mention things that are applicable to everyone who has a Microsoft 365 license as well. Now, in this webinar today, we really encourage Q&A and comments. So please do put your questions into the chat or raise your digital hand and my colleagues will interrupt me because this is why we're doing these live, because we do want to hear from you. We want to hear what questions you have and answer them here and now. So this is what we're going to go through today. So let's start a little bit with the new Copilot experience, or the whole new Microsoft 365 Copilot experience. And again, when I say Microsoft 365 Copilot now, I actually mean the rebranding of Microsoft 365. And let me show you what this means. So most of you might be familiar that when you log into Microsoft365.com or Office.com or the M365cloud.microsoft.com and log in with your Microsoft 365 account, this is what the start page used to look like. You would come to the Home tab up here, and you would have the search bar, and you would have your recent documents. If you wanted to get into the Copilot chat, again, the Copilot chat that's available for everyone in Microsoft 365, you had to click specifically on that chat icon. With the spring wave update, Microsoft are changing the entire layout of the Microsoft 365 start page. So the start page, every time you type in office.com or Microsoft365.com, you will come directly to this new updated chat experience. And again, this goes for people that have just a normal Microsoft 365 license, as well as those that have the additional $30 license. So let's just start with a little bit of a poll, just since it's interesting to see from those of you who are attending today. So if you can just share if you have the old, meaning a few weeks ago or a week ago, the new that's just being rolled out, or if you're not sure, maybe you haven't logged into Microsoft 365 lately. And let's just get a little bit of a feeling of where we are, because this interface is also being rolled out as we speak across the world. So it also is a little bit different what you have access to already. So we can see from the attendees, some are still in the old, some are really not sure, they haven't logged in recently, but the majority of the ones that I'm seeing right now do have the new interface. So that's really great, because then the things that I show you today, you will be able to apply and see it for yourself afterwards. So let's have a look then at some of the things that has changed in this new interface. And what I will do, I will show it in a demo environment that has the Copilot premium license, so the Microsoft 365 Copilot chat. So like I said, if I just go to office.com or if I go to Microsoft365.com, I will be redirected to m365.cloud.microsoft. If I'm logged in with my Microsoft 365 account, you can see that I land directly here in the chat. So again, this is the Microsoft Copilot chat experience where you have enterprise data protection. This is a huge strategic move from Microsoft. Again, they want to push all users to AI first, into an AI first work mentality, that whatever it is that you need to do, you should try with getting started with the help of your AI companion. Some of you might ask, where did my prompts go? Where can I find my saved prompts? Well, you actually have to click here, see more, to open up and get to the prompt gallery. So by clicking the prompt gallery, this is where you can get to your saved prompts, where you can reuse prompts that you use every day. So they're available there in the prompt gallery. You can also see that the history of your chat conversations have moved to the left. So before, those were on the right-hand side. Those are now on the left-hand side. What I love about this is that you can click all conversations, and you can do a search for previous searches that you've done a search for. So it's very easy to go back and search any conversations that you've had with your chat agent. Again, remember, if you have a premium license, that you have this toggle here. Either you're in the work environment and you're looking at work data, or you're just looking at the web. And of course, you will have different conversation histories depending on if you're in the web view or in the work view. But again, this is only applicable if you have the premium version or the $30. Okay, so let's also look at, so that's a little bit about the Copilot chat. If you click the search bar, here you come to what looks quite similar to what the start page was before. So you have your favorites, you have the search, and what you can do here, and what I like with the new search is that just as before, you can search for people, you could look at different file types, and you can narrow it down to see if it's a specific file that you're looking at. But you can also do now is that you can look at your messages, and it looks across all of your conversations, whether those are emails in Outlook or it's a channel or a group chat message in Microsoft Teams. So now using this search, you have a more holistic search and can search across all of your communication and your information. Your apps are still available if you click apps. And of course, if you want to add something as a favorite on the left-hand side, you can pin it to the left-hand bar. Something that Microsoft is pushing is that instead of just going to the specific app, so say that, okay, I know that I want to do a spreadsheet, that's Excel, or I know that I want to do a quiz, I know that that's in Forms. Like perhaps you don't know that Clipchamp is the application that's used for video editing. So what you will see more and more is this create experience. And this create experience is actually getting a facelift. I'm going to switch to another demo environment just so that you can see what it looks like for me, because when I go to when we go to our own tenant, it looks a little bit different. So I'm going to show you the very latest. So when I click here, create, you can see that it looks really, really fancy. So here, what do I want to do? Do I want to design a banner? Do I want to create a form? What type of form do I want to create? So you can see that Microsoft is moving away a little bit from the kind of siloed thinking of just knowing what app to use, and really to look at what is it that you want to create? Like, what is the outcome? What is the goal that you need to do? Do you need to create a feedback survey? And you can then prompt Copilot to create that survey for you, and Copilot will help you create that in Microsoft Forms. So with this new interface, they're really integrating AI more into the user experience. With that said, it is a change. So at Storyals, we're busy updating all of our training videos because, as always, we encourage and embrace change, but it is something that you need to inform your users about. So let's stop a little bit and see if we have some questions. And thanks, Julianne. I see that you're responding there in the chat. So there's a question about what information does Copilot Chat have access to? And this, again, depends on your license. So if you have the normal Microsoft 365 license, the Copilot Chat only has access to everything on the internet and individual files that you upload to the chat. And when I say upload to the chat, basically you're uploading them to your OneDrive, and your Copilot Chat can access it from there. If you have the $30 version, then your Copilot Chat can access everything in the Microsoft Graph. So all of your messages, all of your files, all of your communication, and everything that you have permissions to in Microsoft 365. You can also extend that through extensibility connectors. You can extend Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat and agents to have access to other systems as well. Great questions. So that's a little bit about the new experience and how this is being rolled out. There is a very, very big emphasis on agents, and we're going to talk more about that today. We're also going to be talking about Copilot Notebooks. So before I demo and before we go into the demonstration, let me go back to the whiteboard and just look a little bit about, or look at some of the reasoning behind Copilot Notebooks. So we recently wrote a blog about this because in the world of Microsoft 365, when you say notebooks, most people refer to or think of OneNote. those are the notebooks that we've had for so long. And these are the notebooks that we share and that we love and where we take our notes. And all of a sudden, we have this new thing called Copilot Notebooks. So, what are Copilot Notebooks? And in this blog, we detail what it's all about. And I'll try to do my best to recap this here in this webinar. So if anyone has used the Google LM notebooks, you probably have a good understanding of what this concept is all about. And if you have not, let me demonstrate this a little bit. Now, with that said, I do not want you to use any corporate data and put it on a free public AI service. So whatever I'm showing you now is information that is already publicly available on the internet, just as a demonstration purpose here. So Google's Notebook LM has been available for quite some time. And the concept around it is that you build so-called notebooks. You can think of these notebooks as portfolios of information. So for instance, when I was researching Copilot notebooks here, I created this notebook with content related to Copilot notebooks. These could be YouTube videos, they could be articles, etc. Then I wrote a blog that I published on our website. So I'm going to show you this blog. So I wrote a blog here. So I wrote this blog. And then I pasted this blog into the notebook and said, please, notebook, create a podcast about this. So instead of me talking, I can generate a podcast between two people, but they are basically talking about the words in the blog. So let me play this for you a little bit and see if you can listen to it.
Specific, relevant collection of information designed to be leveraged by your Microsoft 365 Copilot
So as
AI
you can see,
assistant.
these people
okay. So it's
are
about giving
AI
Copilot context from
generated.
my.
And what I asked them to do was to have a conversation about this blog. And then we put it up as a video blog. So instead of just having to read the text, you can use AI and you can get an audio file and like a conversation. Now, why would this be useful? So, okay, in our case, we're using it for learning. So some people like to read. Some people like to listen when they're in the car or when they're on the go on their mobile. So we're creating a richer learning experience with the help of this. But if you bring this to the world of work, how could you apply this? Well, this is amazing. You can create a notebook, so think of it again as a portfolio of information, and then you can have a very focused conversation with your chat agent, or you can create an audio stream with this. So I wanted to show you a little bit of what was available before and what's available on the internet, and how this now comes into the corporate world with Copilot Notebooks. So let's have a look then at Copilot Notebooks. So I'm going to go again into my demo environment. And as you can see here, I'm logged in as Harir, and I have something called Notebooks. Now, this is only available if you have the Microsoft 365 Copilot license, again, the $30 per user license. Now, what you can do here is that you can create different notebooks with assets. Now, let's click on this one. So here we have one called Office Machines. So basically, here we can have instructor manuals for all of the different machines that we have in our different offices, and say that you want to ask a question about something related specifically to the office machines. So what we're doing now, when we're inside a notebook, this chat will only reference very focused information here. So we have all these different coffee machines and fax machines, well, not fax really, but printers. So I can say we have run out of coffee. What should I buy? Now, if I were to ask the general Copilot chat this, it would say, well, you could buy anything that you want, an espressos, you could anything that you like. But now it's telling me that, well, since you have in your offices, you have the Animo Optimo Touch coffee machine, you should buy coffee beans, whole coffee beans. Oh, I didn't know that. So what we're doing in this notebook is that we're so-called grounding our chat. We're telling our chat, don't look at everything in the world, only look at it very specifically in this context. So if you think about then, well, okay, so what different notebooks could you create? So anything that you want to make sense of, anything that you want to study up on, this could be if you're a lawyer, a customer case. If you're in sales, it could be your customers. And you can have a very focused and specific conversation only looking at that grounded information. So the way that you do this is you create a new notebook, and then you could add different references. So you can search here, and currently in the world of Microsoft 365, you can add loop pages, you can add OneNote pages, PowerPoints, Excel files, PDF files, and text files. As of right now, you cannot add links on the internet. So it is a little bit limited because currently it's just looking at the corporate data that you have. But this is a really, really good way and a very user intuitive way of creating almost like you're an agent, but that's very focused on a specific area. So I am very excited about this. As you can see here, you can also get an audio overview, but you don't have that much granularity in prompting the audio to saying you should focus only on this post or you should focus specifically on this theme. So here, it's getting better and better, but it's very, very exciting to see Copilot Notebooks come to action and really being used in that work context. So again, great for scenarios where you need to study up on something, you want very specific Q&A, and you want to direct your AI to a specific subset of data. Okay, so that's Copilot Notebooks. I can say also currently, also the notebooks, you can't share them with other people. That's also coming for it to be more of a collaborative experience. But it's like everything, work in progress and coming. We have a question from Sally here, if the notebooks are only available as the standalone app or if it will be available in Copilot in Teams. So it's actually like kind of integrated. So whenever I go to a previous chat and I can access my previous chats in the Copilot in Teams, I will see those chats there. So they will be like blended with my normal conversations as well so that I can access them from there. But I really wanted to emphasize that when we're talking about Copilot notebooks, this has nothing to do with OneNote notebooks, and it's really not about note-taking. The notebook is more, think of it more as a portfolio or as a binder with information, and where you want to use the Copilot chat functionality to have Q&A, specific questions, recommendations, and also, again, that you can generate an audio podcast to listen and learn. So there's a question here about Ross with the Notebook LM versus Copilot notebooks. And here, Notebook LM has more history and it has more functionality. But again, it's not designed for the world of Microsoft 365 and for the corporate world. So I would say if you're looking at like a feature to feature comparison, then yes, Google Notebook has richer functionality. But if you're looking at using this type of technology in your corporate world for business use cases, then for sure, Copilot Notebook is the way to go. And just have patience. Like with everything with Microsoft, it's released, and then very, very quickly functionality is being added very quickly. I did add an article here, so it's available here with the QR code. So it's a Microsoft Learn article that goes through a little bit also with what type of content you could add to your notebooks, and also a few steps on kind of getting started. And again, of course, our blog demystifies the Copilot notebooks even more and gives you more recommendations. And you can listen to the video blog. Wonderful. Let's move on to the next very, very exciting area. So for quite some time now, we've been talking about agents and really how agents become our new colleagues and how they can start doing things for us and how they can help us in our day-to-day. And I'm really, really happy about the latest announcements about these reasoning agents that Microsoft have now released. One is called the Researcher Agent, which is really for complex research, for analytics and writing. And then the Analyst Agent, which is more mathematical. Now, if we look at these agents, first, how do we get access to them? So Microsoft has different types of programs where you get access to different things. There's private preview and then there's public preview. And then in April, Microsoft introduced something called the Frontier program. So basically, this was introduced because a lot of Microsoft customers wanted hands-on access to test things, even before it's ready for public rollout. So Microsoft introduced this Frontier program. And in May 2025, these two agents, the Researcher Agent and the Analyst Agent, were available through the Frontier program. What it means is that when they're available there, they're in English only, so they don't have that multi-language support. And it's really designed so that you can get your hands on the technology very, very early on. So you're basically part of the product development and feedback to Microsoft. These two agents were made publicly available on June 2nd, 2025. So for those of you who have a Microsoft 365 Copilot license, and for those of you who work in an organization where agents are enabled, you should be able to access these agents today. So they are available publicly available. So let's look a little bit more, and I'm gonna demo this so that you can see how it works and why you should use it and why you would benefit. So these agents are built on different data models. For those of you who are using a lot of AI and using different models as well, that there are different types of models depending on what you want. Some of them are very quick. You get an instant response right away. Some of them are more kind of deep thinking and reasoning. So it takes longer for you to get a response, but they actually do iterate. It's almost like your agent has its own shrink. So it's like, okay, I'm thinking this, I'm looking at this, and like, do you really think that this is a good idea? Would you go back and check it again? So this researcher agent works like that. So it combines the deep research model from OpenAI with Microsoft's own algorithms and the Microsoft graph. So you can use this agent for deep analytics, and it combines both your internal information as well as external information. Now, when you use these agents, they do a lot of work and it takes a lot of time. So these agents should not be used for kind of just quick Q&A. For that, you want to use your normal Copilot chat. But these agents are for complex scenarios and complex projects where you would typically hire a consultant or you would put together a research team and you would do a lot of digging and you would look at a lot of data and you would look at a lot of information. So let me give you a practical example. So, and I'll take one from our own world. So currently, our marketing manager, Sunday, is here as well. We're looking into our core messaging. So On our website, it says, train your employees for the modern workplace. And we have a tagline that we're inspire, motivate, and educate in new ways of working. What we're thinking is that this doesn't really capture everything that we offer and everything that we do. So how should we change our messaging? How should we restructure our packaging so that users really understand, organizations understand the benefit of digital upskilling and the return on the investment that they're getting? Because this is not clear to everyone. Those of you who are here now, I know that you get it, but there are a lot of people that just don't understand that technology needs to be combined with training and upskilling. So we are looking at this, we're doing research, we're looking at it, but I thought, why don't I feed this into the research agent and see what I get out from there? Now, when you run these agents, it takes about 14 minutes. And so we don't have time for that. So what I've done, I've pre-recorded this so that I can fast forward and that we can look at it. So let's look at the researcher agent. So first of all, you access the agents in the left-hand side. So again, if you have a Microsoft 365 Copilot license and if agents are allowed, then you can just search for it here and you can find the researcher agent. You open it up and it starts with that you need to type in your prompt. So again, I'm in my real environment here. And if I go here under agents, you can see that I have the researcher agent. If you click all agents, this is where you see all of these agents that have then been built by Microsoft. And this is the researcher that uses the deep research model. This is the one. So you click open and then you can open it from here. Now, here I can see the previous chats that I've done. So here's the first prompt. And as you can see, when you prompt, you have to give it like real instructions, just like you were giving it to a consultant or to someone. So I'm saying we're doing a strategy review of our core messaging. And instead of focusing on just train your employees, we want to have our main headline to be more focused on digital upskilling and that they reach better results, not the training itself. So I'm giving it a pretty long prompt. What it does then is that it comes back with some follow-up questions. So what specific outcomes do you want to emphasize? Are there any particular competitors or vendors? So it's asking me some questions back. If I don't want to answer these questions, I could just say, go ahead, without that input. But again, the better input you give to your researcher, the better results you will get. So I'm talking about, we want to talk to CIOs and HR managers, and we want to focus on the ROI of technology investments. And then it works. And this is where this took 14 minutes. And this is the reasoning that I wanted to show you. So maybe I can go back to the recording because this is pretty cool. So you actually see it working. So let me go to the recording and I'm going to play this. So as you can see, what it does, it starts the research. So it starts the research, it starts looking at different benefits and highlights. It looks at key messaging from different websites. It looks at competitor analysis. It goes through the Storyals approach. It looks at our website. It also looks at any other type of documentation that it can find. It's looking at refining the message, et cetera, et cetera. And then it goes back and it refines and it analyzes and then it creates, and as you understand, this takes about 14 minutes, and then it creates a strategic recommendation. And I think when I pulled this out, it was 14 pages long. It gives me references, guidelines, resources, ROI reports, focus areas, messaging for different types of personas, offerings, etc. What I can do with this is I can put it into a page and then I can put it into a Word document that I have done and that I have shared with the team. Now, again, this isn't anything that you just take straight off. Of course, you need to go through the analysis. You have to look at the key data. But can you imagine how much time is being saved by having a researcher agent that's going out on the internet and doing this research for you. So again, a really, really powerful tool that everyone has access to. So does it take about, yeah, so we have Rafael is asking a little bit here about what does this require in terms of resources. And yes, this takes a lot of resources. There's also a limitation into how you can use this. So here, there's a cap on it. So users can run up to 25 queries per month. So this is not unlimited. This is capped. So you need to be very, very precise in what it is that you want the researcher agent to do. And you also have to be looking at when you want to use it. So that's the researcher agent. So again, think of this as really deep research, going back, looking at the text, looking at information, providing you with those resources. What is the analyst agent? So this is built on a different data model. So this is built on OpenAI's O3 Mini, which is more for STEM. So it's more for technology, engineering, mathematics, those types of topics. What Microsoft has done, they've taken the OpenAI model and they've built in Python in this. So what you can do here is that you can get very, very deep mathematical analysis of your, for instance, your data. So let's switch again and let's look at what this looks like. Again, let me go into the agents and I'll look at the analyst. And I'm going to look at, again, a previous conversation that I had here. Okay, so this I did yesterday. And as you can see here, help me analyze this report from our CRM system. Provide key insights into the data with any anomalies and trends, any trends I should be aware of. Also provide recommendations for improved sales. So I attached, just like when you work, you can attach cloud files if it's in SharePoint or in OneDrive, or you can upload if you have a file on your computer. So what the agent does is first it goes through the entire Excel file and it starts understanding your data. It looks at how is the data related, what are the different categories that you have, and then it starts analyzing this. So inspecting the spreadsheet, examining the different sheets that you have, processing the sheets, analyzing the data. Then again, it uses Python to go through the contents of this, doing a deep data examination, analyzing the content, and it goes on and it goes on and it goes on. So, I mean, it works for quite some time, and then it comes out with the key insights. So here it's looking at the revenue growth. This is dummy data, so don't worry about me sharing anything confidential. So it's looking at a growth, 64% year over year. We're looking at September as the highest performing month. We can see our geographic trends, and then we can see some anomalies detected here, that we have some outliers in the data in the subscriber number. So something happened here where we got a spike in the subscriptions. Some different trends to watch, and then we're getting some recommendations for increasing our sales. So optimize pricing, review pricing for low revenue per user deals. Maybe we should not be looking at those deals. Maybe we should be focusing more on our high value. Consider value-based pricing for our enterprise clients. Then it's asking me, would you like visualizations for this? And I said, yes. Sure, please do. I mean, I have the Excel file, but then it goes and then it gives me a summary report and I get these monthly revenue trends where I can dig deeper down and see these trends through different graphs. And it's asking me, do I want a PowerPoint presentation of this? And yes, I can continue with this research. Now, can we get like a wow, like isn't this exciting? I see Sanda nodding at least. Maybe all of you are still in the like overwhelmed part. Really, the key was here to get you to be excited about this. And I think the difference is when you do it with your own data and when you do it with your own words and your own prompts, that's when it gets really, really exciting because you get real world excitement from this. So definitely exciting stuff that you can put your hands on if agents are allowed in your organization. So researcher and analyst agents. If you want to know more than what I've shown you here, there's another blog from Microsoft where they're officially announcing these blogs and where they also have Ask Me Anything YouTube video where you can go in and you can look at even more demos of how these research agents work. Okay, what else do we have? Well, something else that I'm very excited about, but it might not be so much for your everyday hands-on productivity as an individual. But from an organization perspective, I think this is super, super cool. And what it is, it's something that was also launched in the Copilot Spring Wave 2, and it's called People Skills. And again, we've written a blog about it that explains a bit more. And what I will do is I will open up the blog and we can have a look at it from there. So this is work that Microsoft has been, doing from quite some time. It actually comes also from the work that was being done in Viva Insights. So basically what it is, it's a skilling framework where you can use AI to showcase the skills that you have within your organization. So let me show you this through just a contact card. So imagine this, you have a large organization with thousands of employees and you have a new joiner joining. And that person wants to know like, okay, who works with customer success? Because I need to know how do we deal with our customer onboarding. And you go in and you try to search for maybe perhaps documents or someone that has done this. What we will have the ability to do is to look at people's skills. Now, adding skills to your contact card is something that you can do today manually, but very few people do it. So what you can do with the help of Microsoft 365 Copilot, Copilot will look at the work that you do. So in this case, Kristen Patterson works with security. So yeah, you can see from her title that she's a security engineer, but what is it really that she's skilled in? So here you can see threat modeling, security incident management, security policies, information security governance, and people management. So basically what happens is that with the help of AI, the things that she's working with day to day, AI is mapping this towards a huge library of different skills. So you have this taxonomy of different skills, and then you can map what people are doing to those skills. And you can then showcase them within your organization. So instead of this knowledge being hidden, it's now being referenced so that people can easier find each other and the skills in your organization will be showcased. Even if you do not have a premium Microsoft 365 Copilot license, you can still see the skills of everyone and you can still add your own skills, but you would just have to do it manually. But if you have a Copilot license and this is applied in your organization, Copilot will ask you that, okay, do you want me to add these skills to your profile? Because based on my my review, it looks like you are showing that you have these skills. So super exciting stuff that's coming. And what's also coming is, of course, another agent where you can go in and you can really dig deeper into the skills of your organization, and that you can also look at these different, almost like a skills landscape, where you can see what are the skills that we're having with our organization, and also where are areas where we need to upskill our employees. So this is a little bit more on kind of high level and perhaps not so much on the individual level, but definitely exciting stuff that's coming out. And again, if you want to know more about people skills, then you can read our blog or again, listen to our video blog that has more information about people skills. Okay, let's look here what we have. So last thing, kind of looping back into what does this mean and best practices for real life. So I'm going to stop sharing here. And again, I'm going to just reflect a little bit and then we will open it up for questions. So first of all, the speed of innovation and the speed of AI, how should I say, agents and their capabilities and what you can do is just it's going faster and faster. And some of us I know feel like, oh, this is a bit overwhelming. The only thing that I can say here is that it's better just to start. So you just being here at this webinar, you just trying things on your own, this is a really, really good first step. But the other thing is that we really need to upskill our employees and our colleagues in smarter ways of working. And a lot of things are going to change. So here again, we need to start trying things out. We cannot be afraid of failing. We need to have more iterative ways of testing things out and see what works and what does not work for us. But the technology is here, and as they say, it will never be as bad as it is today. It's just going to get better. And already today, it is amazing what you can do with these technologies. So get on with the new stuff, start testing, and don't be afraid to break stuff and really see the benefits that you get out of it. So Rafael, I see that you've shared. So I tried a great use case for Copilot for managers, which is to have it create a draft of an annual review by scanning all the email exchanges with a person, as well as the transcription of our one-to-ones. I think that's amazing. I think all of these things we want to be fair. We want to make sure that we're incorporating everything. So definitely an annual review is a great use case and saves a lot of time for managers. Wonderful, really, really good. Can you run analyst on a Power BI document? You can run the analyst on any type of data. So even once I tried to upload an Excel file and that didn't work, I just copy pasted the data in. There is Copilot for Power BI. So to be honest, Rafael, I'm not really sure what format it has to be in, if it has to be in an Excel format or how it works. But you can copy just the raw data and you can paste it into the analyst agent. Edward, how did you make an AI podcast with notebooks? Can't find a button or prompt. It only answers what Copilot. Yes. So there, let's go back to the notebook. Okay. So this was in the notebooks. And then if I go here, and I'm going to have to, okay, I'll just add any file here. So I'll just do. Okay, I'll just take any document here. It wasn't really about Copilot agents, but anyway. So here I've added a source, and then you see here how I have Get Audio Overview. So if I click here, it takes a little while, and what it does is that it looks at the content that we have here, and then it generates an audio summary of the references. And as you can imagine, if you have multiple references that you're studying something and you want to read up on it, you just add the different content sources here, and then you have it create that audio file for you. So coming through, looking through the information, in this case, it was just one document, but you can kind of go do something else and then come back, and then here it's going to pop up.
Absolutely. It's a unique look at what it means to dress for success when your office is, well, digital. We're exploring practical tips and insights from a guide that really breaks this down.
Right. The guide emphasizes that your digital profile is your professional.
Magnus, Oh, you've just activated people skills. Amazing. I will be really, really excited to hear about the feedback and how that works. Yes, and there's a lot of different ways in how we can upskill our people. We just need to have an agent for making more time in our calendars. But I honestly think that it makes it a lot more enjoyable that you can consume learning in many different ways and what works for you. I told my son, because he does not like to study, so instead of reading, I said, just throw it in and listen to it instead. And you can go for a walk, or you could do something else, and you can still learn by listening. Some like to listen, some like to watch videos, some like to read. So it's very different how we like to learn. Guys, we have come to an end of this session. So again, I want to thank you for being here today and for investing time in your upskilling. Again, whether you're here live or if you are watching this on demand. This call to action actually doesn't, it just says start upskilling. Whether you're doing it with our help as Storyals or if you're doing it internally within your organization or just doing it yourself, please again, do feel free to use our resources to help boost the digital upskilling. Please contact us, reach out to see how we can be of help. And thank you so much for being here today and have a wonderful summer. Thank you, everyone.